Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 13, Text number 37. Too much of noise in the. Please repeat after me. Keyam va kuta ayata. Keyam va kuta ayata. Daivi vanari utasuri. Daivi vanari utasuri. Prayo mayastu me bhartur. Prayo mayastu me bhartur. Nanya me pi vimohini. Nanya me pi vimohini. Nanya me pi vimohini. Yam vakuta ayata. Daivi vanari utasuri. Prayo mayastu me bhartur. Nanya me pi vinohini. Keyam vakuta ayata. Daivi vanari utasuri. Prayo mayastu me bhartur. Nanya me pi vimohini. Keyam vakuta ayata. Daivi vanari utasuri. Prayo mayastu me bhartur. Nanya me pi vimohini. Word to word translation. Please repeat after me. Ka. Who. Iyam. This. Va. Or. Kutaha. From where? Ayata. Has come. Daivi. Whether demigod. Va. Or. Nari. Woman. Uta. Or. Asuri. Demoness. Prayaha. In most cases. Maya. Illusory energy. Astu. She must be. Me. My. Bhartuhu. Of the Master. Lord Krishna. Na. Not. Anya. Any other. Me. My. Api. Certainly. Vimohini. Bewilderer. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat after me. Translation. Who is this mystic power and where has she come from? Is she a demigod or a demoness? She must be the illusory energy of my master, Lord Krishna, for who else can bewilder me? Purport. Balarama was surprised. This extraordinary show of affection, he thought, was something mystical, performed either by the demigods or some wonderful man. Otherwise, how could this wonderful change take place? This Maya might be some Rakshasi Maya, he thought. But how can Rakshasi Maya have any influence upon me? This is not possible. Therefore, it must be the Maya of Krishna. He thus concluded that the mystical change must have been caused by Krishna, whom Balarama considered his worshipable personality of Godhead. He thought it was arranged by Krishna, and even I could not check its mystic power. Thus Balarama understood that all these boys and calves were only expansions of Krishna. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Enam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Gauravaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the late 1970s, devotees found a very beautiful building in downtown Manhattan. Many of you might have seen the picture. It was a 14-story building, and there's a picture. There are devotees in every window for all the 14 stories. And then Prabhupada is sitting, that it had a beautiful rooftop garden, and that would overlook the Hudson River. Prabhupada used to actually enjoy a lot sitting on that in that garden. That building had a restaurant in the ground floor, in the basement, and as you enter this thing, there was a temple in the next level. There was a one floor just dedicated for an auditorium for dramas and things like that. Imagine 14 floors. There was one just floor for all offices and Prabhupada's rooms and this thing like that. And brahmacharya ashrams, multiple levels, and brahmacharani ashram, grihastha ashram, like that. Very beautiful big building. In fact, Srila Prabhupada had made a statement saying, when I pass away, my ashes should be put in this building. He had told I should be kept in this building, part of his ashes. And so, while Prabhupada was there, I'll tell you what happened afterward, but I'll tell you what happened when Prabhupada was there. There was one GBC who was very capable manager. And so this was obviously a very, very big temple. and huge commitment to keep the temple running in the middle of Manhattan, right? And it's expensive and all that. And so Prabhupada had appointed one of his most capable GBCs as the temple president there. Anybody knows who it was? Huh? Balavant. Balavanta Prabhu, he was the TPO over there. And he was actually in Mayapur for some time, and then he was sent over here to take care of this, particular this thing. And so suddenly there was one Japanese lady who started showing up at the temple. Her name was Yoshuda Toyota. Right around that time, there was a big, just before that, there was a big marriage of, before the marriage, the Ambarisha Prabhu and Ruther Walter, I think his name. He was the head of the union. Very, very influential, very powerful politician. His daughter also joined the temple. And together there was the two people who purchased the Fisher Mansion for Prabhupada. And it was a big thing, big news, because for decades Ruther Walter was fighting against Ford because he was representing the workers, and Ford was representing obviously the company. And so big news flashed all over saying the two got together and purchased the temple. And then his daughter got married to a devotee in Detroit. And they had taken that opportunity to create a very big, media campaign, because those days they used to act at that level. They had a big press agency, and so many big politicians came for that wedding, and they're saying, these people have become devotees and all of that. And so there was all of this talk that, Ford's grandson is a temple devotee, and, there was this. And now Toyota's family also is becoming a devotee. There was this Yashoda Toyota. So there was a lot of excitement like that. Oh, see, we have Ford now we have Toyota. Because those days, the topmost car selling companies was Ford and Toyota. Literally, like Toyota was very big in those days also, because they were coming up and they were a very powerful force. Even now it's the world's, yes, they've lost the title I think, but they were the world's biggest car manufacturer in terms of number of cars produced. So there was a lot of excitement. Oh, this thing and thing. And so Balavanta was preaching a lot to her and all of that. And then it ended up becoming that, oh, she's going to marry Balavanta, and then she was married. Prabhupada was still in India at that time. He didn't know anything what was going on. And then suddenly they started noticing that this Toyota woman was not like acting like a devotee. She was acting very strange. Then they even once found out that she had ordered pizza with meat that was delivered to the temple. That was taken up to their floor where they were living. And then everybody came to know something is wrong. And then immediately letters were written to Prabhupada, and many of the other GBCs also confirmed that this was going on, and Prabhupada personally came to solve this problem. And long story short, during Prabhupada's time itself, all of this happened. And this Balavanta Prabhu actually left the movement at that time. So, in a very short time, in the face, when Prabhupada was here, this senior devotee fell down like this in a very, what shall we say, It's a unfortunate way, and it was such a. Anybody would have said, hey, it later turned out that this woman was nothing to do with the Toyota family or something. So she was not a Toyota heiress or something. Like, how can somebody be fooled that that you are this? And it seems many devotees tried to talk to her in Japanese. She couldn't even talk back in Japanese. There were all these signs were there. How can somebody be carried away by this? Right? That is called the power of Maya. Which Maya? Devi Maya. That is the difference I'm trying to tell you. How to differentiate between Yoga Maya and Maha Maya. That's the whole purpose of this discussion and the purpose of this verse. Now, if you go back a few thousands of years, there was another very big king, right? Bharat Maharaj, in whose name Bharata Varsha is named, right? Very, very wonderful, powerful king who ruled very righteously, and just per the Vedic tradition, right when he turned into 50s, there was not that oh, he was weak and invalid and his teeth were falling off and there was no this thing, and now okay, sabdo, at least let me take to God consciousness. No, that is not his situation. He was a powerful ruler. No rival to him. Prime of his, like in one sense, you're at your top position usually in the 40s and 50s. That's the max you'll ever achieve in your life, they say. And so, he was in that situation. He had a very nice family and, nice son. But as soon as he reached that age, he said, no, I'm going to take Vanaprastha now, and gave his kingdom to his son and went to the forest to practice spiritual life. And then we all know a story of how he fell down, due to affection to a deer, a baby deer. Anybody remembers which of the 9 stages of devotional level he was in? He was in the Bhava stage. Adau Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. You already jumped to Nishtha. Huh? You have to do Anartha Nivritti before you get to Nishtha. Anartha Nivritti, then Nishtha, then Asakti, then Ruchi, then Bhava, then Prema. Just one step before Prema. We are struggling in Anartha Nivritti and going back, forth, here and there. Sometimes Bhajana Kriya, sometimes no Bhajana Kriya. Right? Sometimes Shraddha itself is like, oh, am I doing this properly? Right? We get a glimpse once in a while of what is being Nishtha one day. Oh, nicely chanting. And then when you do chant nicely, you will get Asakti, right? Oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. And then you get some Ruchi. If you don't have Ruchi, do you think anybody can practice? No, we have to have Ruchi. Little bit we taste we are getting. And that Ruchi itself is so wonderful. Right? And that's how it keeps us going. And you keep going up and down, because we're still in the Anartha Nivritti phase. Because Prabhupada says that, once you reach, he uses 2 separate analogies. He says, once you reach 51% of Sattva Guna, then you've gone past the Anartha Nivritti phase into Nishtha. Right? So we should not be surprised that we are not exhibiting sattvic qualities all the time. So we have not reached the stage yet. Because you will know, Phalena Parichayata, you immediately know. There won't be any coming down and this, you will be fixed. And then you'll be in Asakti, so much enthusiasm will be there. Nobody is to come and tell you, hey, do this, do that, this thing. Why are you not doing? Why don't you get up for Mangalarti? Nobody will ask you those questions. Because you are like full of excitement, and this, and you want to do this and that. But somebody who's gone past that, went past Ruchi, went into Bhava, that too he didn't fall down like, like in this case, some woman, he's also asking, is this a woman? Is this a demoness? Who is this thing? Just, again, don't get caught up in the word woman. For a man, woman is a woman. For a woman, man is a woman. It's the attraction to the opposite sex that binds us to this material world. Right? So, that's not what was Bharat Maharaj's fall down. It was just attraction to a deer. Then the question comes up over here. The reason all of this comes up is because Lord Balarama, he is the Supreme Lord's first expansion. But see how the Lord's expansion, they're independent. Balarama has independent thinking, is independent this thing, because that is the nature of all living entities. Without independence, there is no love. So when the Lord himself expands, these expansions also have independence. Let alone the living entities to whom the Lord says, okay, I'm giving you independence. So Balarama is wondering, what is this? I'm not able to make out. There is something wrong here. Right? That attraction between, to the cowherd boys and the mothers, and the cows and the calves, and my attraction to this cowherd boys. This is different. This is not the same as it was before. Something is wrong. But what is it? He's asking. Is it Maya? Then he says, no, this is not. I can't be under the influence of Mahamaya. I can only be under the influence of Yogamaya, Krishna, because he's reached that stage. He's a pure, obviously he's the Lord himself, but it's just the thought process, right? Kind of a thing. So, what is the lesson for all of us? The lesson is that we, in our practice of spiritual life, even if you go up to Bhava, we can fall down. Forget Bhava, we're all in the Anartha Nivritti stage, this thing. If you're not careful, any day, any moment, we'll fall down. And the reality is we keep falling down all the time, little. Not major fall down. And so we wake up, get up again, just like a child is trying to walk, fall down. He'll get up again. No, I want to walk. That should be a determination. Because what does a fall down mean? What does a fall down mean? You have to be somewhere up to fall down. I'm just trying to get at that. You're at a higher level consciousness under which you're acting, spiritual. You're thinking of Krishna, how to serve this, how to connect with Krishna. But sometimes you'll fall victim back to our old habits, to Maya, and this thing saying, today I am working, so I need some relaxation. Right? And this thing. And then, you'll sit and you'll be doing whatever you're doing. Everybody has their own source of Maya. Right? And then hours go, this thing, then what am I doing? And suddenly you'll wake up again. No, I need to be strong. So these ups and downs will happen. So we need to understand what is it that can cause us to fall down so that we can try to be guarded against this. Try to protect ourselves. Because ultimately, who is the sufferer when you fall down into Maya, Mahamayas? We are the sufferers. Is it pleasurable to be under Mahamaya's this thing? No. Mahamaya, how is Mahamaya depicted? Is represented by Kali, this thing. 10 hands or 12 hands? I keep forgetting. 10, huh? 10 hands. And each hand, very interesting choice of weapons. Right? One hand there is a A skull showing what will happen to you. End result, but all the rest are all weapons. This I'll put on you. And 9 are all weapons. Right? There is a sickle. There is a trident. Right? There is a sword. There's a club. Some kind of mace, and I don't even know what those 9 are. I already lost. Maybe 5, 6 only came up. Huh? All kinds of weapons of this. And why is that? Because when you're under Mahamaya's influence, you're thinking yourself independent, and when you think yourself independent and you try to enjoy this material world, invariably, anything that is not connected with Krishna, and you're quote unquote thinking you're enjoying this material world, 100% you will do sinful activities. 100%. It's like just a matter of time. Somebody who's in, like you're in Maharloka, Janaloka, you're in a very high planetary system, highly sattvic person, and this thing, you will not do sinful activities for a long time, but one time you will do sinful. As long as in the material world, you will do some mistake. That is the nature of this world. We should always understand. To err is human, they say, right? We will always do mistakes. So, we should understand how to protect ourselves from this. Now, Bharat Maharaj's example is a very good example. Oh, somebody in bhava also can fall down. How do I protect myself? Right? Anybody remembers what Prabhupada says? Why Bharat Maharaj fell down? Yeah. Any other answers? How can somebody in bhava fall down? He's actually correct. A little bit more nuance, he said. What did he say? Anybody heard? He did not take guidance from this. So basically, if you think about what happened to Bharat Maharaj, he saw the deer, and the deer was helpless. And so any devotee is compassionate, isn't it? We're all compassionate. Now, when you see a small living entity suffering so much, and it is clueless, is looking this way, that way, and you started walking behind him, because you thought, just a born baby, what he'll think? Who is the nearest thing? They'll think that is my mother. Right? She started walking behind him, and then what else to do? He looked here, looked there. What can I do? Initially, you would have thought, okay, at least let me take the deer for some day. I'll just protect it a little bit, and then it will go by itself. That's what he would have thought, right? But then the deer didn't go. Now, just like, you see, in animals, have you seen sometimes they show this YouTube videos of ducklings following a chicken and all that? Have you seen? Like, they'll follow a different animal. Because they think, first when they're born, whoever they see, this is my mother, and then they'll just go behind. Right? So like that, the deer was just following its instinct for survival, and this thing, and very young. Everything young looks very cute. Have you seen that? Like teddy bear they show, right? Looks so cute, but that teddy bear can kill you. Small teddy bear only can kill you, for let alone the big mama bear. The polar bears, even a small polar bear is like 7-8 feet tall. It's full of energy in this thing. It can maul you. So everything small looks cute just because it's the nature of the Lord's creation. Because those living entities need protection at that time. If you're not cute, who will just to create that attraction, right? That's why I keep saying, as you get older, you'll become like a toddler, but without the cuteness of the toddler. If you're cute like a toddler, when you get old, everybody still nicely take care of you. But now you don't have the cuteness of the toddler, but you have all the crankiness of the toddler. That is where the problem comes. Right? That is why, as a duty, we have to take care of our elderly with love. Even though all the factors will prevent you from having any love, it will only be this thing. You have to do that as a matter of duty. Right? So like that, in this situation, the Bharat Maharaj was enamored by the small. And so point is, little by little, the example is given of the frog. You put a frog in a nice water. It'll be swimming around. Such a nice this thing. And then underneath that pot of water, you light up a fire. What will happen? Water will get a little hot. And then it will feel like, oh, this is nice. This is very nice water. And then you're swimming, oh, this is so wonderful, because as the water gets warmer and warmer, it feels even more pleasurable. And then it gets its thing, that thing. And then at some point, it's like, this feels a little hot. I don't know, it's okay. And then you'll keep doing this thing, that thing. It gets to a point when it's actually like boiling hot. At that time, your muscles are frozen, like you cannot really, this thing, at that point it is too late. The frog cannot jump out of it because it's already, been in that hot water for so long that all its muscles are compromised. It can't jump out of the water, and then it boils alive. That is our situation. Maya starts with, you can't make out whether it is Maha Maya or Yoga Maya. What is this? Because everything can be that. Is there any difference between Yoga Maya and Maha Maya when you look at the outside situation? Practically, there won't be any difference. It looks exactly the same. Oh yeah, I am also this thing. Oh, I am attraction for my children. Yes, the gopis had attraction for their children. But that is Yoga Maya. So what is the difference? Right? And so, there's not much difference between the two, and so it's very easy to get caught up and not be able to differentiate. So Bharat Maharaj, he did not take advantage of consulting with a superior authority. When he was getting, little by little devoted, some level of, introspection, some level of being able to take the guidance, because at every stage of our life we have to take guidance. That is why when you first join a temple, and whoever you are, whatever you have done in your previous these things, I remember there was devotees, some devotees joined this thing, but that time they were already like having very big positions in outside companies and all of that. And it doesn't matter. You're first made to wash pots for up to 1 to 2 years. Why is that? Make humble. Humble can come from other ways also. Yes, that is part of it. But what is the more important thing? What is the most important thing for a devotee? Service is good. Consultation, association, yeah. Temple, you are there for association only, na? Discipline, right? Obedience. We have to learn that we have to obey somebody. And, especially, in the American culture and this modern age and all that, everybody's thought, oh, I have to be independent thinking, I have to be this, and, so much encouragement is given for that. And so there is generally and a teenage brain especially, right? You all remember when we turned teenage, 13, 14 years, 15 years. how we were so rebellious, weren't we? And the reality is that as soon as your ability to decide something, you'll get that. I distinctly remember I was in my 8th grade or something, 7th grade, 8th grade. I can tack that, almost like a turning point in our lives. Oh, I can now you can understand cause and effect and this and how these things work, and you do something and you can see it works, and you're able to make a determination. And by prarabdha karma, if you're blessed with some level of intelligence, sometimes it may be more than your parents. Very much possible. Then you will say, you can immediately make out, hey, these people don't know. Right? And the point is, even if you're not more intelligent than your parents, as soon as this is turned on, physically, for a 13-year-old, for a teenager, this thing, what happens? This front portion of this brain is called prefrontal cortex. If you take a scan of the prefrontal cortex of somebody who is 14 years old, there is actually a hole over here. It's unfilled. There's a gap. You can go look up, this thing. And then up to 23, that part of the brain keeps growing. And the prefrontal cortex is filled up. That is the decision-making part of your brain. So it's a physical problem. It's not even, literally a machine is not developed. But you think I can take whatever decision. That's why teenagers make they're overconfidence, they say, right? And they make big mistakes. Right? Because it's a physical problem. It's not a physiological problem. It's not even like some mental thing or something. They're not that they don't even have this thing. But now, that is why in the Vedic tradition, you are taught to be obedient. Teacher is there. You're taught to be obedient to the teacher. And then, despite your brain telling you, oh, I can do what I want, you will say, no, let me listen. And you are obedient. And then you will start to learn. You'll make some mistakes. You'll learn from the mistakes and this, but you're still obedient and you're learning from others, because the only way to learn is from somebody else. You have to get the access from somebody, otherwise you won't learn. So like that, slowly, and then by the time your prefrontal cortex will develop, and then you'll become a responsible adult. But if you don't learn that obedience, if you don't learn this thing, it's a serious compromise for your spiritual life. Because you've got your whole life to do independent things. Hey, once you are a little this thing, who has got time to be behind you or this thing? Do you think any of our leaders want to come and figure out what you're doing this thing? If somebody does the job without being asked and do nicely, do you think that anybody has interest to come and tell you what to do? They'd rather go do something else. Why they want to come and tell you what to do? Nobody has interest. Nobody has time for that. So, we have got your whole life ahead of you to do independently what you want, but you have to learn obedience first. You have to learn how to work under, get guidance. That's why Bharat Maharaj, his only imagine you're in Bhava stage. Can you imagine? It's so beyond us. Even in Bhava stage, just because he didn't consult and he got caught up in Maya and he fell down. So, one has to have a few things that help us to determine, am I in Yoga Maya, Maha Maya, how to stay away from, how to stay careful, and this thing is. First we should understand, what we should understand first. That even you are in Bhava, you can. That fear one should have. That fear one should have. And a way to protect yourself. Even if you are in Bhava stage, how will you protect yourself from fall down? Yes, spiritual master. Prabhupada is there. Then no problem, na? Is that a practical solution? You have to have You have to take guidance from senior devotees on a regular basis and have that fear, oh, I should consult, I should ask, I should learn, I should, check myself. If you, at any stage of your life, if you don't have, I always keep saying, at least 3 people who you can reach out to and say, I want to, get this thing, I want to get this clarified. And how often you ask the question. This is a check. If you don't develop this habit of regularly, checking with your authorities, like, am I doing this correctly? Should I do differently? And if you don't do that, then very easy, like Bharat Maharaj, to, without knowing, like a frog, little bit warm water before you're in boiling water. Right? So this is the nature of this material world, and one has to be very thoughtful and careful. And then, like all of you are saying, do nice sadhana, do nice this thing on a daily basis. If you're maintaining this, then you're able to maintain that level of this thing, and then anartha nivritti will happen. You will get to an Nishta stage. But till then you should understand there will be ups and downs in life. But that is not a determination of, whether, and we should be careful, we should be thoughtful and planned, so that, we can protect ourselves from all of this. And the pujari is ready? Yes. At least 3 devotees. I was wondering what is the third point I made myself. Like, how can I forget what I made? I didn't say 3 points. I said you should have at least 3 people whom you can trust and call. Just the other day, I had this very difficult decision to make, what to do, kind of a thing. Immediately, I have more than 3 people, but I immediately messaged them and said, I really need your help right now. Can you give me a few minutes of your time? They said, yes, call me at this time. And then I had a nice heart-to-heart conversation for 30-35 minutes. At the end of it, I was like, okay, I know I have to do this and this thing. You should all have, and you should on a regular basis. If none of you are asking the question, how can I improve, what am I doing wrong or this thing, then you're already in Mahamaya. You don't have to. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? We have to understand that this is an ongoing process till you go back to Godhead. And don't say, oh, Prabhupada is there, my spiritual master will guide me from my heart. Bharat Maharaj also could have gotten guidance from his heart. Na? Paramatma is sitting. Paramatma is actually 24 hours guiding you. But are we in a position to listen to this thing, especially when you are in Maya? You cannot. And you cannot distinguish between Yoga Maya and Maha Maya. That is the problem. Okay. Pujaris are still late. How late are you going to be so that I can plan my class? 1 more minute. Okay. So let's see if anybody has any questions or comments. Yes. Very good question. You check, and they will tell you, hey, this thing you're doing nicely. Do when you're in your, all of us. You see, in this material world, there are only few things that are very, very simple and easy and very easy to. This is easy to, what is right and wrong. Very easy to understand. Right? There are many things that are like that. But as things get complicated, there is no easy answer. There is no immediately, oh, this is right, this is wrong. Over time, you keep thinking, you have a feeling it is right, little bit of feeling it could be wrong also. Then you apply and then you try, then, and clarity comes. That's how this world works. I'm not talking about even, I'm talking about even some physical things. Like when you're taking decisions, right? These things. Initially there will be no clarity and slowly clarity will come. That's the nature of how complicated things are decided. Simple things, easy. But when complicated things, they take time. And then clarity will come. But if you are not getting the clarity and if you are feeling doubtful, when in doubt, check. If you are checking too long, they will tell you, hey, what is this? You do, Baba. Have you written? See, Prabhupada writes in the letters, you are a sincere devotee, chant Hare Krishna nicely and this thing, and Krishna will guide you within your heart. That is true. But when you are doubtful, better check. Don't take the risk. You see what I'm saying? Don't take the risk, because still small things, okay, but something that is very important, don't take risk. Always check. That is why there is an authority system, and there is a counselors, and all of this system is set up. There is one person above the person above. There are so many things are set up like that. That's why also there is a setup saying okay, if you are chanting, if you are doing this many rounds of this many hours of service, then you're entitled to this much time from it, because other thing also happens. You keep on asking, I want time, I want every small thing in life, I want somebody to tell me. That is also not a practical thing in this world, right? That's why in a temple we have this. If you're doing 6 hours of service, okay, your counselor will talk to you every 30 minutes every month, right? If you're doing 15 hours of service, the counselor will give you up to 30 minutes every 15 days. Right? And that sort of remains steady, if you're doing full-time service. Right? Multiple people will talk to you, and you're sure at least you're entitled to at least 30 minutes of one-on-one time with somebody in the week, like that. You see what I'm saying? So there are all these different systems are created just to be this thing, because there's a limited availability of everything. And so we have to make use of it. The more important thing is that we should remember that in this world, unless you get out of this material world, you can fall victim of Maya. We'll stop here. Yantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premadante. So it was really not 1 minute, huh?
Kandar Agom